Hey everybody, and welcome back to Paint Fork Farm. I'm out here in our fields today. Here we are. Just want to say a quick thank you to everybody who showed up for our annual work party. Seems to be, well, this is 2 years in a row. It was a great time. Everybody kicked ass and everything, and maybe we'll have another one next year. We'll see. But yeah, thanks again for helping us out. We went way faster than we thought we would, which is fantastic. We got so much more done. But anyway, let's go over what we accomplished. So for the start, we did a bunch of mowing over here and doing some weeding and stuff. So it was getting pretty overgrown, so people can move around and actually enjoy themselves out here instead of fighting weeds and stuff. But we started out with taking out the BCS and doing some tilling and plowing for the old flooded beds right here that I guess it was a couple weeks ago. I'm pretty sure we did videos and stuff on that as well. It's on our podcast and Instagram and stuff like that. There was a few starts that were, or transplants that had survived, and we were just gonna let it play out and see if we needed to fill these beds up, if they, were viable. But turns out those things didn't quite make it. So we decided to retill and cover and plow the troughs in between these again, so we can take the extra transplants of dianthus and phlox that we have inside to fill these up, and the extra space we're going to take and probably do some vegetables just to test out, mainly just for us, not necessarily for selling, but every chance we get to experiment, then we're going to do it. But there they are. They're nice and covered now, so nothing grows on them. We should be tearing into those, I think, the start of next week. But took care of that. Everybody helped us cover them up and everything. Next is the 2 rows of Scabiosa, which are these guys right here. We had a bunch of starts inside that we transplanted, and we also had some seed tape that we had made that we put in the ground. The seed tape has not started sprouting yet, but pretty confident it will. We shall see, and we'll keep you updated. These next 2 are straw flower, and kind of the same situation, transplants from inside as well as some seed tape to fill in the holes. And let's see, these last 2, there's a little path in the middle, don't pay attention to that. But the last 2 are Scabiosa. Actually, no, sorry, Nigella, not Scabiosa. But the Nigella is all seed tape, no transplants at all. Yet again, nothing has come up yet, but we're pretty confident it will. And aside from the stuff out here that was transplanted seed taped, we did a little cover crop of clover, which is white Dutch, red, and yellow. That's actually starting to take off pretty well, which is nice. It should help with suppressing the weeds and stuff like that, and we can also till it back in after the growing season to put some nitrogen and other nutrients back into the soil. So should be good. Should work out. It worked out pretty nice last year. It definitely suppresses the weeds, which is good. Let's see, aside from the farm side, that's pretty much what we did over here. There's definitely more things. I'm gonna go to the other side and show you what else we accomplished, and yeah, I guess I'll see you over there. All right, so what we did over here that's not in the fields, which I forgot to mention, we had a ton of fun with the BCS, so we actually hooked up the tractor and stuff to it, and used that to bring over the transplants and things like that, and we gave people a chance to drive it or ride around in it or everything like that. Got to put it in 4th gear, which was insane. Might tell you a little bit about that later on the podcast. But anyway, so we did some more soil blocks and sowed some seeds into said blocks. Mostly dahlias and some zinnias, which it's, let's see, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It's 5 days since we planted them, and we have almost 100% germination on all of them, which is pretty exciting. But I will show you here. Here's our zinnias, looking healthy. These are Showtime dahlias, looking pretty good too. We got some pom-pom dahlias, looking even better. Then we have a hybrid wimp and another tray of the hybrids, which we will eventually, as they're out in the field and growing and stuff, we will mark them and try to keep the ones that look like the best and propagate them and stuff like that. Like save the tubers, right, and just spread them out if we can. But that ended up being 300 zinnias and 1,200 dahlias, which are 600 of the hybrid, 300 of the pom-pom, and 300 of the showtime. We started the dahlias with no heat or light, which is nice. And aside from that, everybody helped make some seed tape and things like that, and just help clean up after all of what we did that day. But yeah, which like I said, timing and stuff, we expected it to take much longer than it did, and it was a breeze. We had a blast, and thanks again for everybody who helped out. The last thing we had accomplished was some mowing and stuff like that, which I'll show you real quick. All right, so the last thing we did, which wasn't actually part of the work party, it was the Tuesday following it. We took out the BCS and, well, actually Sammy took out the BCS and did all this mowing back here. It looks like the other side of that is not mowed, but it actually is. It's just there's this big ditch that goes there in the middle of it that we can't run the BCS on. While she was doing that, I mowed the side yard and did a bunch of weed eating over on the farm side. All the stuff along the creek bank, and everything in between the beds and around the beds that we couldn't get to with the regular mower before everybody showed up on Monday. But after she did all that, we went through the chicken area and carved these nice little troughs and paths for them there. You can probably see some, which the stuff that's around is how high it was over on this side before we did the flail mowing. A lot of that's actually stuff we had, some cover crop we had put in a few years ago just to help the chickens out. It's all stuff that they can eat, and annual stuff that keeps coming back. Some rye and clovers and just whatever else. It actually ended up being whenever spring started, there was a lot of really cool blooms, a lot of nice colors like yellows, whites, reds, and purples. But we also did in this area, we cut more paths for them to be able to move around unencumbered and still have cover from aerial predators, which we have at least one hawk that comes by every once in a while who has only gotten one of our chickens. But yeah, anything that keeps them from being spotted from the sky is good. So did all that, and that was most of what we did for working these last couple of days. So anyway, thanks for stopping by, thanks for listening, and talk to you later.